one of you all tell me how do I switch this language thing? There is a, I think what I'm getting is some pop-ups in, perhaps it is in German. I think I had to select, although that may not be required. Is there any option for going on the English version?
On Google, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, it was muted. I'm just trying to check. Actually, it should be option normally should be available. I think because you are trying to use it here in the browser.
Yeah, but I don't know.
In the Google settings, we have a translate option.
Okay, 1 minute.
1 second later. Just
yes.
Google options setting. Okay, where is this?
In that way, basically, we have an option to enable the translation from.
I've got all that options are also coming in. I think German.
Yeah, in advanced settings, I think maybe if you have a Google browser, maybe I think it should be. If you
So what is the problem?
No, actually, I'm not facing any problem. So, but I thought if there is any pop-up or message, then it should not be in German. That's what I was wondering.
I think maybe you have to enable that in the browser itself. I think if you open a Google Chrome, another browser, and if you try to go to the advanced settings, and in there is a translate option. You need to enable that in advanced settings, translate every time to English.
Okay, 1 minute.
It's in the Google Chrome settings, and right side tab, top right side, and when you click there, there is a settings.
1 second, 1 second.
It's on here.
Language, 1 minute.
Then if you come back on it.
You don't happen to cut it, I can cut it. You can disconnect it or I can cut it. No, this is already broadcast.
Although I may not face any difficulty, but let's see.
Okay. If any difficulty, we can maybe that time we can do the fixing, no problem, I think, of the problems. So, I think.
Because I think what happened was when it started, I mean, I can re-log in again. When it started, it came that German thing, and I think there was an option to change, but I carried on with the original.
Okay. I think the address at the top will end with en, I think, or .de. So maybe if you.
Sir, just look at the current Hangout where you're looking at. Just check out whether it is check out the address if it ends with an en or with a d.
I will have to do this. I'll do it. It will take a while.
Okay, no, let's carry on. No problem.
Okay.
Sure, I think. Okay. So today we have Sir Jagdish Shetty Ji with us on the Hangout to discuss about the current scenario of the politics of in India, and regarding the whole scenario of what is getting built up for 2014 Lok Sabha elections, and as well providing us a brief advice and providing us some guidance for, and also a better in-depth knowledge on what is exactly happening on the ground. And because Sir Jagdish Shetty Ji is very quite close to the real environment of the what is currently going on in our Indian politics. So we welcome Mr. Jagdish Shetty Ji, who has a very big, very long career in politics and has a very good grassroots level experience, starting from grassroots level to the top level. So we welcome Mr. Jagdish Shetty Ji to our Hangout.
Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And namaste to all of you all.
Namaste.
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 And I would like to kindly request our audience as well to give a short introduction about themselves. Maybe we'll start from the OFBJP student.
Yes, this is Sanjeev Lamba. I'm a businessman here. I have been in Sweden for the past 6 years. I was here before from 1984 to 1993 and then moved to the States for 15 years and then returned here.
Okay.
Yes.
Then
Welcome.
welcome
Thank you.
to the Hangout.
Thank you.
Somana Gowda Patil, I think maybe you can introduce yourself.
Okay. Welcome for Hangout, sir. I'm Soma Patil, basically from Karnataka, settled in Germany, Munich from last 4 years. 3 years I was working for Intel, and last roughly 1 year I'm working for DSL. Regarding initiative to support BJP activities, last week all of the enthusiastic people around Munich have conducted a run for unity and chai, and it was a great discussion for nearly 3 hours. We discussed what are the next strategies for improving the 272 range mark in terms of colothon and in terms of carpooling for voting and all these things. And basically, we are doing a lot of pro BJP activities from driving from Munich, and here I have set of volunteers to support me, including Vijay, Kaushik, and some Munwali Mutt. We have around 30-member team here.
Welcome, Mr. Patil.
Welcome, Samana Patil. Yeah. Vijay, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah. Namaste, sir. Jagdish Ji. I am Vijay Radhakrishnan. I am actually a freelance engineer and a freelance yoga teacher. I'm living in Germany since 7 years. And I have been personally proactively following Swami and also BJP's activities on Twitter, and what I would call myself pro-India, so to say. And as Patil mentioned, we are trying to do a lot of pro-India, pro-development activities. And my interesting topic is, okay, we have got the people, and how do we now, sitting outside, contribute to nation's growth? So that is the kind of topic that I'm like trying to work with. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Vijay, and welcome to the Hangout. And actually, from here, myself, Vedananda Gaud, and Mr. Pawan Nayak, we are actually.
I'm a student in Louis School SN. I'm a student doing masters in computational mechanics. And yes.
Actually, myself, I am Vedananda Gaud. Actually, I am a telecommunication consultant in Germany, and currently, yeah, I am trying to do some work of some a bit in the national building for our country. So today we have right now we have not put this link right now on broadcast. So we have not put this link shared among the group so that we don't load it too much in order to so that we maintain the stability of the Hangout. So we are trying to keep it as concise as possible, and later slowly allow people to join in as in it goes further. So I would request Jagdish Shetty Ji to give us a little bit overview of his biography for us to have an insight as well.
You want me to tell you a brief thing about what's the present scenario like?
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly,
yes,
sir.
we all will be very much enthusiastic, and to know about your a little bit of your experience sharing with us. It will be very kind of you.
Yeah, no, I will tell you a little bit of myself, which you have anyway shared on the internet as well as on the email. I've been associated with previously in some form, I would say, the Jan Sangh or the emergency movement, and then from 77 onwards with the Janata Party till its merger last year in August with the BJP. I have been associated with RSS and the various other organizations. In fact, I've been actively associated with Dr. Swami since virtually February, January 1977, when he first came and contested from Mumbai. And I was the National General Secretary of the Janata Party before it got merged into the BJP. So in political, I have been right from the ward level to the booth level, right up to national office bearer, and that's my journey in politics. But basically, I'm a product of the I could say, the emergency and JP's movement at 1975-77 period when I had just come out of school. And then since then, it was no looking back. I've been with Dr. Swami with all the ups and downs, things of politics. Now coming back to the national scenario and the present elections, most of you have been exposed to the social media and the Indian press coverage. But I have been going around different places in the country, right from Bengal to Assam, various parts of Maharashtra, Karnataka, and numerous other places. And I feel there is a anti-UPA wave and a pro-Modi BJP wave in the country. And I see the enthusiasm, if you were to measure it, it's perhaps a little more than 1977. There may be different pockets, but it is perhaps a little more than 1977. And in the background, I must tell you that there were some disadvantages to us also in 1977. Why I'm comparing it? Because of the wave factor. Unlike in the other elections which may have happened as far as we opposition parties are concerned, I'm comparing it with 1977, and I feel it is even much more than 1977. For the factor is in 1977 we had a lot of handicaps. Maybe some are over to our advantage afterwards. That is, one was on 18 January 1977, suddenly Mrs. Gandhi decided to relax the emergency and hold elections on the 16th of March 1977. So there was hardly less than 2 months period for the elections. Most of the opposition leaders, especially of Jan Sangh Socialist Party or the BLD, which Swatantra Party also was part, and Congress were in jail, and they had just been released after the announcement, and there was no such thing as an organization. Many organizations were banned, leaders were in jail, hardly any funds. There was hardly one electronic media, that is Doordarshan, in the hands of the government, and even the press, print media was censored, and to some extent hardly any social media at all, except that the word of mouth. So in that context, it was different than what is in today. We have more or less a lot of social media, electronic media, and various other activities, and we have some state governments of ours, and although the money power is great with the Congress party and the UPA, but these are the major differences. But in spite of that, I notice that the massive support we have been receiving. So I am quite confident that we will go past the magic figure and be able to form a government from the response I see everywhere to this. And this is happening not only during the election. I've been going along with Dr. Swami for the last 2 or 3 years, when initially the scans broke out, especially on the 2G, even before the other opposition parties could take stock of the situation. I could feel the pulse that people are really getting fed up. The real thing which blew all this was the 2G thing. So I feel very confident that we will get a good working majority in Parliament. This is what I feel. But at the same time, we are having a little bit of fear in some Congress-ruled states that they could misuse the EVMs. So that is one area of concern. As of now, I mean, I'm trying to be, as honest as possible in that sense, not public. We should reach, NDA should reach the figure around 300, perhaps easily. As you know, we have almost completed polling, and I think about nearly 438 approximately seats. That's only one, I would say, 4/5 of the country have already gone to polls, and I think 105 seats go to poll, one on the 7th and the other one, the last one, on the 12th. 64 and I think 41, 105 seats are remaining to be polled.
Sir,
So this is a basic situation all over the country. Even in places like Karnataka, I think you may have got a feedback. The situation is much better, definitely, than what it was during the assembly elections there.
Oh, sir, can we ask some question based on your detailed agenda now?
Please be free. And, it can be elections, it can be other issues also. Don't worry.
Okay, sir. Right now you highlighted that there are some discrepancies regarding EVMs, and I think it is very surprised, being in a democratic country, how the EC is handling and what are the BJP strategy to address these things.
Have you finished? Okay. See, as far as the election commission is concerned, I mean, all we will say that they are impartial and all that, but really speaking, much more is desired from them. The Supreme Court has already passed orders for implementing those safeguards on Dr. Swami's petition. I don't know whether most of you who may be following Dr. Swami on Twitter or must be aware of what's happening. Dr. Swami had challenged the EVM machines issue in the court, in the High Court as well as in the Supreme Court. Ultimately, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Dr. Swami, saying that the machine requires safeguards. That means there should be some paper printout which will be issued like in an ATM machine, and you can see it that you have voted for the right person. And many of you all are from the electronic world, perhaps IT sector. It has been completely proved that these machines are tamperable. So, and I think in Europe, many parts of Europe, I believe Germany, Netherlands, Ireland, and many of these countries, especially your German High Court, has banned these EVMs type of machines. So the Supreme Court held that this has to change, and they advised the ECI to implement these safeguards.
Okay.
What the Supreme Court did was, it was a little bit fag end of the 5-year period. They advised it. Now the government, as usual, has starved the election commission of funds for implementation of this scheme, and I think only in about 10 parliamentary seats this time, this EVMs, the new form of EVMs with this VVPT, I think it is known as, has been introduced. Just for your popular thing, if you remember in the last assembly election, also in some places it is introduced. In Sheila Dikshit's own parliamentary seat of New Delhi, all the booths had this safeguarded EVM machines. So the government deliberately starved the election commission of the fund. Surprisingly, the election commission guys, they may all parade themselves as being very straightforward, impartial and all that, but we know from sources that they have also not been very enthusiastic to implement it in a big way, and perhaps it suits them and the government plan. But what has happened is the media build up, so especially the social media build up, and all this pressure, and BJP leaders, especially this committee known as a Strategic Action Committee headed by Dr. Swami, which has members from ex-officers from RAW, Army, Intelligence Bureau and all that. They are monitoring all the situation, and we are trying to plug all the loopholes as far as possible. But I can't totally rule it out, although it may not sound very hopeful for us in that sense. But we are trying to plug in many of the loopholes, but it is not totally ruled out. We have definite information as far as Maharashtra is concerned that this Prithviraj Chavan earlier also was part of the think tank which manipulated the last election results, and maybe up to some mischief in Maharashtra. That is what we have got reports, but we are taking precautions, especially where they have been stored, to ensure that there is a counter surveillance and all that is being done. This is just for your information that that situation, that threat is real.
Okay, sir.
May I ask you, you see, most of these organizations you mentioned who are monitoring this, their security and their, they have been compromised. Like Prasar Bharati, one heard CBI, and how are you so sure about intelligence agencies not looking after the interests of the government at the center right now?
No, no, no.
Because
No. Let me inform you. There are ex-serving officers of IB and RAW with us after their retirement. So they give us lot of input based on their experiences. They are not anymore part of the government. But one thing is certain: the entire atmosphere in the bureaucracy also is very much anti-UPA. So that is an advantage just now. This whole scenario, there are not, I would say, lot of willing officers ready to work for all these illegal things which are happening in the government. In fact, privately, some of these people even give us some informal briefing of certain things what is happening, not necessarily on the EVMs, but others. Some decisions are being processed, some things are being discussed. For example, you must be knowing about the processing of the army chief's appointment. That post is only happening in July. They want to rush through that right now, and there are various other things happening. But for the first time, because the bureaucracy also is feeling that they have been doing the government has been doing a lot of illegal things. The bureaucracy also is not totally pro the present government in that sense. So they do leak out a lot of things. In fact, what's been appearing in the media is thanks to all these types of forms. Sometimes it may be attributed to others, but many of these senior guys are leaking out. I would not say that most of them are with us, but a large chunk are anti-establishment. So this is just for information, because this is the type of weather cops which are there in the bureaucracy, who when they know that things are not going in the present government's or present ruling party's flavor, they are a little cautious and guarded, because they don't want to be caught afterward by the new incoming government.
there was, I'm sorry, there was a news item that appeared about a problem with an EVM in Pune. Whichever button people were pressing, it was going to Congress. But there was no outcome of that. We didn't hear.
Complete.
Yes. So what? I mean, those kind of situations. How are those being tackled?
See, honestly, that is just a small problem. I am not so much worried about that particular machine, but that may be an indicator. What is more dangerous is, you have recorded your vote. Is the result going to be as what it is recorded? This thing what came out of Pune is a good example, because there at least when I have gone into the booth, assuming you have gone into the booth and pressed, it is showing a wrong thing. It could be a pure malfunctioning. But what is more dangerous is whether it is being recorded in the memory correctly. There's no doubt, this is also wrong, and it was detected. In fact, some places more than this, some other places also it has happened. It has happened in Assam. One or two places I was worried it has happened in the other way around also. But most important is this: our vote, there should be a transparency in whom are we voting for. And as the Supreme Court, I think even in Germany and India, said that efficiency is no substitute for transparency.
Right.
So in fact, I'll tell you something more, Pune, which is not reported. Because of Dr. Swami's campaign, in fact, one of the chartered accountants of Pune, he rang us up saying that his house is next to a school which has a polling booth, and his flat is just very close or next compound, or virtually just a few feet the compound wall and this thing. He said on the polling day, and I think their polling day was somewhere not on the Bombay was 24th, I think it was on the 17th of April, and he reported that the previous day to the poll, that is the 16th night, he could hear from the polling station the sound of the EVM machine throughout the night. Now we don't know what it means, but throughout the night, that beep beep sound was coming the previous night. So he he's an intelligent, Mr. His name is Mr. Irani. He's a Zoroastrian. He went and lodged a FIR. Now all that investigation will take place, but they were all really worried why is this machine making noise in the night when it is not being operated? It's just lying like that. Why is it being operated? Why is it making or beeping these sounds? Either it is being tested by somebody or by some remote control. Something is being manipulated. This is one of the issues also that was there, because as you know, these machines have something known as a memory chip or something, which is not manufactured in India. It's manufactured in Japan, and they don't use EVMs in Japan. By the way, they only use ballot paper.
Well,
Sir, I have a follow-up question on the voter thing anyway. So there is a report about 60 lakh voter names missing from the list. So are these constituencies going to go for a repoll, or is it going to be like the Chidambaram case where you file an FIR and then he becomes a finance minister, rules for 5 years, and then still the case is not finished?
Strictly speaking, I don't think there will be a repoll in this constituencies, and it is too late. There is a Bombay or Pune case which is coming up in the High Court tomorrow. But normally when the election process is on, the law is very clear. Normally the courts don't interfere. And the 60 lakhs could be all over India. But I'll tell you some facts, very interesting. Although we can't do anything much. See what happens, these rolls are published in India periodically. And we have to see whether our names are there. And political parties and various individuals and organizations really sweat it out to inform people, please check whether your names are there. In fact, you sitting in there also, if you go to the website and you press some information, you will know whether your name is there. Unfortunately, lot of people are not able to do that. So as far as general information is concerned, this is always informed, people are asked to check. But what is surprisingly what they have done is like this. See, sometimes if you are migrant, in a sense, now today you are in Mumbai, then you have shifted from Mumbai and elsewhere. Those errors could happen. I am not blaming the machinery. But what has happened in this case, for example, I am staying at a particular place for last 10 years. I've been voting in every election. So I don't take special efforts to go and check whether my name is there on the roll. This time I am very confident that I have not moved residence. I am staying here for so many years. It is understood that I will be continuing to have my name. Now what has happened, and in fact BJP did protest about 8 months ago or 6 months ago, I would say to be precise somewhere in August or September, we went to the election commission and said we are detecting large scale deletion of names in opposition held seats. For example, they know that, for example, certain pockets of Bombay are BJP stronghold, and we found the deletion very high in those areas. And example, like a place like Mulund in Bombay, which is on the border of Thana, about 25,000 names were deleted. We found it alarming. While in a pocket of Shivajinagar, Mankur, near Chembur, only 400 names. One was a posh middle class area of Mulund, where BJP lead was 35-40,000 in the last assembly elections. While in Shivajinagar, which was a slum pocket dominated by one of the minority communities, there the deletion was hardly any much. So we had suspected that they were trying to delete large scale supporters from pockets where we had a large majority. So that is the mischief. But I don't know whether the courts can do much, because what happened was the HDFC's Mr. Parekh, name was not there, Ram Jethmalan is not there. So this has really created, and some people have gone to court. But honestly, on these missing names, I don't think court will take a stand, but 3-4 opportunities were given for the voters to see whether their names were there, and if their names were not there, they could have filled the form right up to, in Mumbai, it was up to the 23rd of March 2014, you could have included your name. But here actually I have a logical point, a legal point. A person like me also, suppose I have to see the list virtually every month to see that my name is there or not. Assuming I saw it in January and my name was there. In the March list, my name could have been knocked off. So that means a vigilant fellow has to take the trouble of every month or every week seeing the voter list, mera naam nikal gaya to nahi. So, but what they should do is, they should say that if you are wanting to delete my name, at least you should serve a notice on me at my last known address that we are deleting your name. What do you have to say? See, non-inclusion of a name because you have come into a new area and you have not filled a form, I can understand. The government can't do much. But an existing person for numerous years, he is staying there. If you want to delete his name, the deletion is most objectionable. He is staying there, you want to delete his name, serve him a notice, or the address, give it to any person who is there, and then if he still doesn't respond, then you deleting, you can understand. So this is the difference between the two. But honestly, to a short answer to your question is on the deletion, hardly it will make any impact in the court. Could be some court may be proactive, but before 16, I don't think anything happening. But tomorrow or day after, or 8th or 9th on the Pune matter, there is Amul Palekar also has gone, the film actor. He and his wife also have gone to court. So some of these fellows, they could make, if some arguments are done, perhaps something could happen, but it won't be a major thing which will affect. It could make a difference in some constituencies, but don't forget that, the overall mood is anti, the newcomers who have joined are anti-government. So they will try their best, but I don't think on that issue they will make a major impact. But I know you are definitely concerned because if the losing margin, because last year in Mumbai, 2 or 3 seats we just lost by 3,000 or 5,000 votes, so it could make an impact. But I feel this time the winning margin will be very high.
Sir, I'll just have an add-on to that question. So how many constituencies do you think, if this information were to be true, 60 lakh voters is a huge number, and how many seats do you think, because Swami mentioned yesterday or day before, he said if the EVMs were not rigged, or if there is a large-scale subversion not going on, then NDA should easily get 320.
Yes, that's what is our internal assessment also, and we are little monitoring the BJP, non-BJP or I would say the UPA states, Congress states, where there is a possibility of it being tampered.
So the question is, he did not mention the else part. So if we assume, if he did not mention the else part, if the EVMs were not tampered,
I can't hear that part correctly.
He has not mentioned, okay, assuming that the EVMs were tampered with, how many, what would be the swing estimate? Or because the game at the end of the day is between the majority, NDA with full majority, or a BJP with full majority, and a BJP with a weak BJP government. That is the game, I think, that is going on now.
Yeah,
so
but how many places they would have tampered or are going to tamper, it's very difficult to guess. But our internal assessment and our surveys and various things put together show that we should reach the figure of 320. Although, as I told you, we still have to go to for 105 seats. But even surveys there are pointing sufficiently to this 320 number.
Because today Modi has, for the first time, I think he has targeted the EC and also talked about the booth rigging in West Bengal.
Yeah, BJP has lodged a complaint also about West Bengal.
Yeah,
but I got information, I think in West Bengal now there are 17 plus 6, 23 seats to go to poll.
Okay. Actually, I have one question actually regarding the NRI vote bank, which is more than 1 crore now. So the Supreme Court plans to provide us the voting after 2015. But is there any chance that our vote can be considered right now through any means by BJP or any the government?
No, now it is too late, but I think some of us had studied this issue earlier, and it would require some constitutional amendment to have the NRI's voting rights, because normally at the moment it is, if you have to be ordinarily residents of a particular place to be on the voter list. I mean, you are a citizen, you are a Indian by virtue of being born in India and other this thing. But you have to be registered. If you have to be registered, you have to be ordinarily residing at a place in India. So I think some government in the future, and maybe our next government, should seriously explore how to go this, how to get this done. But I don't think just now. NRIs, and I hope I am right, NRIs just now who are abroad have any voting right or any system being worked out. I mean, it may so happen that you are an NRI but still have a vote in your respective hometowns, but you don't have a facility to vote. Because there are other small complications which we'll have to overcome, because you will have to be voting per candidate in your home constituency. It's not you're voting for a party, it will be for a constituency. I don't know what is the American system, how they do it, but here it has to be voting for a particular, like you will be voting for the BJP candidate or a Congress candidate in a particular constituency. I don't think we have reached that stage yet, but it is a very good thing, valid thing, because, and especially overseas, most of them are anti-Congress normally.
Yes, I can. Yes, you're right, sir.
And the Congress and UPA has always never been wanting to give NRI the voting right, because they know that lock, stock and barrel this vote will go against them. But we'll have to work out a future government in India, but it will require some constitution amendment, but it is high time that we give our NRIs these voting rights.
You're right, sir. Actually, the Congress government having ruled for more than 60 years, it's really a very pity on us. Like we are not able to still exercise our voting rights. We are in 21st century, and it's very bad that the Congress government they are not able to make us provide at least a privilege for any option, even though to get it for.
You will be surprised, even our defense forces and our paramilitary forces, they also have lot of these difficulties of voting. In fact, for 2 minutes I can understand these people assuming, for argument's sake, they're posted here, there, everywhere. But do you know that even these officers who are on duty on the election day, suppose I am staying in Mumbai at a particular booth, there is at least 5-6 officers at the booth. They may be coming from Goregaon or Mulund or XYZ. Sometimes they don't even have a right to vote. Huh? Let me tell you how badly it is all organized.
And also, we have currently we saw in Northeast Assam a lot of violence, and also we saw a blast in Chennai. So actually, we are having all this in the time of election, and it is a very much I think in important the interest of India to recognize such problems being done at the time of 2014 Lok Sabha elections. And it is we are not sure why is this kind of violence being propagated. We do not know the reason. What is behind such a mind, sir?
No, this is all vested interest, but luckily the Chennai thing, which is very unfortunate, happened. But luckily, I think, if I am not wrong, it happened just after the pollings were over in Chennai and that region. But nevertheless, it's bad. What's happened in Assam also last 2 days is very shocking and bad. And there's a Congress-led government there. They always attack Modi Saab for what happened in 2002. But you must know that after 2002, there has not been a single riot in Gujarat. While BJP, and earlier on in Gujarat, every 2-3 months there used to be communal riots. But after 2002, there has not been, last 12 years, not been a single riot in the entire state of Gujarat. While the day before yesterday one, what happened in Assam is very shocking. And that's this thing, Congress-led state. But by and large, let me tell you, the elections have been generally quite peaceful in India compared to such a big state and how vested interests and so many huge machinery involved.
I keep going back to the original issue on safety of these EVMs, because it says on many places on the net that an electronic voting machine can be easily hacked by even a school-going student. And there was some news item that in some places, so there's some rumor about parallel EVMs being deployed in areas to where Congress is not so much confident of getting any votes. I don't know how that part will be addressed. It's a bit
I don't know. Were you there when I initially said about the EVM? Is it
Yes.
Sanjeev?
Yes,
Sanjeev?
yes. I
Sanjeev,
heard. Yes, I heard that, but you didn't address. You mentioned. I understood your answer, but my question is somewhat different. That if these machines can be hacked from outside, is there any security or any safeguard in place to deal with it?
No, that safeguard is there, but as I told you, we are not totally ruling out and that these machines, because if that machines were really safe, the existing machine, then the Supreme Court also would have not. It took really 5 years for Dr. Swamy to convince the Supreme Court or the courts of that these machines are tamperable.
Yes.
Tamperable.
Right.
You know, it was a very tough task. They never believed it. In fact, one of our friends from Hyderabad,
Yes.
Prasad, he was arrested. Can you believe he was part of our team? What happened was we had to get an original machine to demonstrate. So earlier on he was not part of our organized team, but what he did is somebody bought or brought to him a genuine EVM machine which was lying in the government department because non-election time.
Right.
He demonstrated in a TV show that these EVMs can be manipulated.
Right.
Thereafter, Dr. Swamy's petition was in the High Court and somebody had filed a petition in one of the courts. So they took Dr. Swamy to the Election Commission and they said, we want you produce a machine and we'll do a demo. Then we asked them to do first of all, this TV9 published this thing that it can be tampered with. I'll park that thing aside, I'll come to it what happened. Thereafter, the Election Commission, Dr. Swamy and two gentlemen, V.V. Rao and Hari Prasad and Dr. Swamy went. They took Dr. Swamy because they said that these guys will fool us otherwise. So they asked for a video recording to take place. Everything they was going on well. They were representative of the two companies, I think Electronic Corporation of India and BEL, who produced these machines with these parts. What happened was, when everything was done virtually, I would say 80-90% of the demo was over and the final results had to be shown. For example, if there were 5 candidates and our idea was to show that, you know, we have voted for X candidate and the tally should be 8 votes for the candidate and the final results were going to be displayed. These two companies objected to the demo being completed and they said it was some infringement of some copyright or God knows all that rubbish. And the demo was abandoned and never held again. It would have thoroughly exposed it in official sense there also. All this was part and argued before the Supreme Court and ultimately the Supreme Court came to the conclusion and in fact thanked Dr. Swamy for having filed the PIL and they came to the conclusion that the existing EVMs are not safe or foolproof. That's why they introduced these and the Election Commission also originally was not supportive. Ultimately they were forced to agree. They were towing generally whatever is the government line, and but ultimately the Supreme Court intervened and the order was passed. In fact, you all should read a copy of the order. If you locate it, or if you do a Google search, or if you send me an email, I'll send it to you, or I'll
All
post it to one of you all. But what you say is all right. All this my saying, and all your enthusiasm, on all the enthusiasm of the cadre in India can evaporate the moment they do it. In fact, you will be shocked to know that this is a more a political statement, but which is a fact that Mr. L.K. Advani ji would have been the Prime Minister of India in 2009, but the UPA really rigged 91 constituencies during that election.
So that
So
is,
you may ask me that, what is the guarantee that, they are not
Yeah.
rigging it now.
that's correct. That is my concern actually. Yes.
Jagdish, I have a different different question altogether. Actually, the media and the general public outside always go by the people's suggestion whom we think it as a scholars, like Amrita Sen or Jnanapita Award winner Anantamurthy or Karnad and all these things. Somehow those guys are polarized towards UPA government. Somehow, even if you see any Nobel laureate who is sitting in UK or US, who is writing a very good economic strategies and finance model, somehow they are with a pro-Congress. What exactly is going on there? I think, could you give some analytics? Why the hell such things are happening? Why can't they brand Modi, who is already proven in all the sense, and already they know about the history, and already our GDPs are going well, and if you see the health ratio and all the education ratio is more than 12%. Considering all the statistical data, still they try to play this secularism card. And because most of the times, many innocent people are there when we say, hey, okay, he's a Nobel Prize winner, we should follow his thoughts. Somewhere this bias is happening, and all over the media, if you see mainly NDTV and IBN broadcast these things. If you see Amrita Sen always, I don't know why people give so much of hype to him. He goes to book shows and address. What is the BJP and NDA's strategy towards addressing these function of the democratic stuff?
See, in fact, we are in a very different situation in 2014. Let me tell you many of these leftist leaning, Naxalite type, all this Western leaning, so-called big wigs or whatever you call them, they have been doing all this type of activities from the very beginning. In fact, you will be surprised that this guy, same guy who's got the Nobel Prize, originally had invited Dr. Swami to leave Harvard and come to, I think, Delhi School of Economics in the 60s. And ultimately, he was part of that group which ensured that Dr. Swami did not get any posting in India. So, you and I from this generation are in a better situation because these people's influences has faded away a lot, but still there are a lot of them. They have vested interest. This guy, this Sen, has some big scandal on the Nalanda University, some revival, and a big scandal is there. Sorry, and I am sure the new government, Dr. Swami has already, you must have noticed some tweets he had done already, that there is going to be a big investigation. And let me tell you, many of these things don't come out. Slowly things are coming out, including the Ford Foundation donation to AAP and all that thing. And I don't know, many of you must be aware of Rajiv Malhotra. Are you any of you aware of Rajiv Malhotra?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
See, these people are doing silent work, but most of some of these scholars, they have been virtually running down our country whenever in international forums. I'm sorry to say, even this gentleman, Infosys guy, what is the name?
Nilekani or Narayan?
Nilekani.
Huh?
Nandan Nilekani or Narayan Murthy?
He is also another fraud. There is another founder, Narayan Murthy.
Narayan
What
Murthy.
he donates to causes which are actually for foreign institutions which are doing anti-India work there. But you would not fund persons like, I would not say you fund a particular person, but people who are fighting for the causes of ancient Indian religion or ancient Indian research and all that. Certain times unwittingly they get into trapped into donating to various foreign universities which use these funds against India. So this is a big thing, and many of these have these various titles from abroad and do propaganda. Now this guy, this guy Sen, has been responsible in Harvard for influencing a group of people, which led to Dr. Swami's course being dropped in Harvard. Same guy. I mean, they don't have much fan following, but government patronage over a period of time and 50, 60 years, the government has been misusing. And when we come to power, also unfortunately, our priorities become different, and we don't dismantle some of these establishment or people who are being with their luggage. We should also take action on many of these issues, but we also, have neglected this in the past.
Sir, that's my question also, to follow up your answer. So, on the Rajiv Malhotra forums, if you look at it, there is a considerable effort going on and at understanding and destructuring or decoding the structure of all these left liberal scholars who use information or misinformation as primary propaganda to, let's say, for example, oust Swami from Harvard, or even the meeting with for Modi, even the video call, or his visa status or whatsoever. Is there in the future, now that Dr. Swami has a large social media following and has a good research network group, is there a consistent or a systematic plan to replace all the compromised stooges in the future?
Yes, there is very much an agenda in place, and for that I would like more on the VHP and RSS playing a dominant role, because they will have to guide our political leaders. Why I am saying this is, there is always I would say a fear or always a genuine problem that our political leaders, once they come to power, sometimes they may forget the original agenda, because our only agenda is not just coming to power and being in power for 5 years, 10 years, but we'll have to dismantle some of these major issues. And I tell you, I would feel social media and friends like you sitting abroad, although you and I may not get, I'm in India and I'm a political being, so I'll exclude me from that. Your only interest in India is seeing that there is a big change. You are not going to be part of the power, you are not going to become an MLA or minister or share some, in a sense, the loots of office. I would say in broadly sense, I'm not meaning that one must be looting, but or spoils of office. But what I'm saying is, your interest is seeing that all these things are fixed. And if the political bosses are only going to be doing political power, that is not enough. We have to see in every sphere of Indian life, this is effect, because just like Rajiv Malhotra's role is a long-term role. And not only Rajiv Malhotra just signifies what needs to be done, and they require a band of people to dismantle many things. We are even ashamed to make perhaps yoga compulsory in Indian schools. It's such a beneficial thing. We will do yoga only whether the Westerners want yoga. We'll feel that yoga is good for India. Like, there are numerous things, our textbooks, our basic thing, all that. But I think the present government, and if we have a strong leader like Modi at the helm of affairs, many of these issues will be addressed, and We are just not looking for a political change, and that's not what people from abroad, also our Indian Hindu friends from abroad, are looking at it. We require a major change in all spheres, just not a political change. Because just coming to power and somebody being a minister is not enough. We have to go to the grassroots level, and social, educational, all sections or classes of our society should get the benefit of it.
Actually, I have.
I'm telling you, it is the social media, overseas friends, the Indian social media, which will keep a future government under track, because there's always a possibility of government being carried away by the mandate, and then, not sticking to the agenda. We know, I need not criticize, but we know what happened between 1998 and 2004, and that is why 2004 the BJP cadre did not work enthusiastically as they should have worked in the previous election. But this was one of the reasons, because they did not stick to the agenda. But I think the VHP and the RSS this time is determined to correct many of the things. That's why many things before the elections and after the election, there will be some drastic changes.
Okay, Jagdish Shetty Ji, I have a different question altogether now. After post-elections, we want to strengthen BJP and its alliance and keep the government under track. We want to have a very structured team here supporting all our friends. Right now we are in Europe. Right now everything is in a point-to-point model, means somehow comes up and he says BJP, and how exactly we need to structure this, and only we should not unite when there is a need for voting as such. We need to deliberately think about Indian development, and we always need to push for how we can positively propagate India's brand to the outside world in terms of job creations, in terms of trade. For example, when it comes to an visa issue, we would like to have most of the engineering crowd is sitting in India. They can come here for today morning. Me and Vijay were discussing the same stuff. They can come here and they can get a 3 months visa, like a job search visa, and if they get it, then they can settle here. In the same way, it is true for Germans as well, because most of the big ventures like BMW, Audi and all those things, they have a lot of facility in Pune and Bombay vicinity. Means what exactly we can do post elections to improve the relations between foreign countries and India as such. And could you give how we should, if at all, if you want to structure our team, means how we should be structured in a way, what all things we need to look after, because sometimes we see that our group mentor Vedananda being trafficked for his main BJP activities. How we can avoid, and as well we try to get the BJP and the post elections strategies very clear.
Have you somebody wanting to add another question, or see what has happened is BJP is got the overseas friends of BJP. I don't know what is your. I think you had a Google Hangout with Jolly Saab, no?
Right.
Yeah.
He is handling, I think, one of these cells. But what needs to be done is perhaps you all are perhaps all from all over Europe, or at least some northern part of Europe. I think nobody is there from UK. UK is a different chapter altogether. I don't know what is the structure like, but I think you should have a formalized structure. Whatever, now there will be some transition period, because after the election some things will be redrawn up. But I think you must have a formal structure and set up this organization. And this organization need not be just election time. It should be all over the large period of time, non-election, peace time also. I would emphasize more on many of these corrections which need to be done. Don't give up your interest. In fact, I would request you all to play a bigger role, post elections and voice your opinion from there, and try to on the social media, if anything is wrong is happening, then voice your concern, because see, wrong things have been happening, and I cannot rule out it will not happen in the future. It is people like you and other friends and well-wishers in India and abroad who can bring it to the notice of something being happening wrong and bring it to, because see, sometimes even some scams can happen. I'm not saying that. We must be vigilant. More than the scam is the implementation of the agenda, because sometimes Western interests can try to dominate, and that is the time when you all should be alert. And besides this, this is on the political front. There are hundreds of things which we can do on the social front, which will help influence India. And like this, some things you said about job opportunities or business opportunities, all that can be part of the agenda. But some structuring need to be done. I am definitely going to tell the Dr. Swami and some of our central leaders that I don't mind devoting some time to look at these activities, because a lot of people on the social media from besides Europe, from UK, and well as in the large parts of the North America are in touch. In fact, Australia also people have been. In fact, for the Google Hangout, a lot of other people were interested today, but then after you said we are restricting it to some people, I did not even send them the link just now. Some people say in the Gulf countries, there are large number, they are very hungry for all this type of activities, because you at least have some sort of a freedom here, but in the Gulf countries, they are very restricted activities also, but still they are interested.
Sir, I would just like to add.
I hope the answers are not too lengthy and boring, you all.
No. I'd like to add to this, because the discussions what we had here it was basically a lot of brainstorming, and we were thinking of some quite a nice ideas. The idea was how we can, what is the framework to communicate these ideas. Let's say we discussed about, we have about 1 crore NRIs for the complete country. We're not just thinking about Europe, in general for all the Americans or in all the other countries, maximum being in the US. How is it, can't we have an NRI ministry which will take care of all the concerns of the, this was one of the ideas. Can't we have an NRI ministry which will take care of all the, how to tap the potential of the NRIs?
Isn't there one already? There's already one.
Okay, it's not right to interfere.
Hello.
Some technical difficulties?
Veda, I think we are facing the bandwidth issues now.
Yes, I think.
No. Can Jagdish Shetty Ji, sir, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So we are not able to hear you. We are not audible right now. So your voice is breaking a little bit, sir.
Means I think you added too many participants now. Huh?
No. Hello. Can you? Okay. Hello. Can you talk a little bit so we can hear?
No. What I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are able to hear you.
Yeah, now we are able to hear you.
One of our friends just now raised, it's a good idea, but I think already there is a ministry or a department and the Ministry of External Affairs looking after NRIs or of Indian origin or interest. Not only NRIs, I think it was started a few years ago. But I agree, we must pay more attention and.
At least it is not functional, sir. At least, I mean, we do not even know such a ministry exists. So I don't know how functional it is. And the second one is actually, I mean, a lot of ideas are coming up. So what the idea was, if it's possible, because Modi was talking about, the foreign ministries' role having changed from the Cold War times to today's trade and commerce. And the idea was, why not we use the embassies also for the same purpose? How can you build entrepreneurship using the NRIs and serve the Indian domestic market, for example? So that is a kind of, it will create jobs at both sides. NRIs have the know-how from the Western countries, and that will be, this intelligence can be used to serve the Indian market, which needs the Indian public or the Indian consumer basically needs all the technology and the intelligence. So how can the NRIs play a role in the development of the country sitting here? How can this forum of BJP be used for that purpose? That was the kind of discussion going on, and I would like to hear from you. Have you thought about such ideas, or is it discussion with Mr. Swami? Because Swami is idea generator for most of these
Okay,
concepts.
वो बात पहले इसको 10 बार कर चुका है वो.
No,
He's explained it already that you have.
Vishwanath, can you mute Mr. S15?
Work right now. Could you please all allow Jagdish Shetty Ji to answer the query, please?
see, I'll definitely convey this idea to Dr. Swami, and I think from whatever little bit I know, he's very receptive to the idea, and Modi ji also has made similar statements, and it's a good suggestion. We should definitely think of these lines, and I'll definitely convey it to Dr. Swami. And maybe in the future, I'm just suggesting, I don't know, we can also have a Google Hangout. I don't know, you all, did you all join in any of those last 2 Google Hangouts with Dr. Swami?
Dr. Swami, no, sir.
No.
I think next one would be we'll be doing a hangout with Swami in a larger scale, because this is a kind of a trial test where we are not able to fit in too many people. That
We
is
did
why
one a few months ago for friends of BJP in Australia, and another one we did for our American audience, and one was with VK Singh and Dr. Swami a few months ago. But unfortunately, I don't know, because the next Sunday is the 11th, whether we can do, and maybe it's too short a notice. Let's see, something in June we can definitely work out after the election results. Because Dr. Swami has been, we in India have been having something known as a, what is known as patriotic people's meet. You know what is, you many of them, you all must be on Twitter. So we have periodical physical meetings in various cities where 200-300 people turn up, and Dr. Swami interacts with them virtually for 3-4 hours, and there are question answer. But we'll try to do with Europe or Google Hangout definitely in the near future. So very near, I would say a month or 2 from now.
thank you, sir.
Great, sir.
In fact, we were planning a UK Europe visit. Unfortunately, because of various factors, it couldn't happen. Let's see if it will happen in the future.
Friends, could you allow please Jagdish Shetty Ji to speak? I think
There's some disturbance with somebody. Anyway, I have a question, sir. Like we have many things for now in NRIs, and like we have discussed about NRI voting rights right now. We are yet to know some like vision from BJP if there is any plan for NRIs about our visa or other dual citizenships, to be precise.
I wouldn't offhand know, but I think on dual citizenship, I don't think I'll have to go. I plead ignorance. I don't know exactly what is the stand, but I will. We have something known as a vision document which was not published. I'll go through it and perhaps post you some extracts from it. What is our exact stand on those issues?
Okay, because we spoke about this with Mr. Vijay Jolly, but we were not very clear about the answer. The answer was like we couldn't get a clear answer.
Yeah.
So that's what I meant. And
hello, yeah. Sir, actually, we have one more question actually regarding the number of in the current elections in 2014 Lok Sabha elections. We saw an emergence of new party like Aam Aadmi Party now, and this was due to that there was a Western interest, due to which the new party came up. What is the kind of Indian BJP party action would be there in future, so that such kind of parties do not come up in future? What would be the kind of action? Because we should also limit the number of seats for a particular party to emerge. There should be something called as the minimum number of seats to make a presence in the parliament. Would there be any kind of thing as we have in, there is something like the same in Germany here. So I just thought of asking whether we will have any minimum number of seats for a party to make a presence in even the election.
See, let us see it in a democratic way. We must handle all this in a democratic way. We cannot by restricting number of parties for the people ultimately to decide. Like that, tomorrow the Aam Party people will say, but our performance was in Delhi was quite good. So we should handle this in a more of a democratic way. If they are doing something illegal funding and all that, we must totally expose it. In fact, these AAP people have received foreign funds and they have been issued notice by the Ministry of Home Affairs. And let me tell you, in spite of all this drama he makes and talks about fighting corruption, he has not yet satisfactorily answered it's part of a PIL which is pending in the Delhi High Court, I think so. And it will come out, all this funding binding business, because he has been taking money from non-Indians also, donations besides the various other fundings he has happened. But ultimately, in a democratic country, by just restricting this type of legislation will not work. We must politically expose them, and according to me, in this Lok Sabha election, the Aam Aadmi will be totally exposed. This is not wishful thinking. I think even in Delhi, their performance will not be as good as it was in the.
When people ask questions, only please to answer. I cannot. It's not a discussion.
So we'll have to fight them politically and expose them, because they have this Naxalite connection, and every day they will be drifting. And I'm sure after NDA comes to power, BJP comes to power, these people will be really formalized part of BJP, part of the this thing Congress alliance, or at least they will have this thing. So they will expose themselves. So we must expose them and finish them off in Delhi and elsewhere. They may be of nuisance value in some places, but their real intention, their Naxalite connections and all that should be thoroughly exposed. And really speaking, some of the BJP leaders who are not thoroughly exposing them as they must do. But after the election,
similar to this, like so, Subramanian Swamiji has exposed many scams. It's okay. Scams and many things regarding Sonia Gandhi and everybody. Like, what is the plan to go ahead? Even though.
So once we come to power, we'll have to pursue all those matters and not give up. I may personally tell you there will be a vested interest who will say, no, now we forget it and all that. But if you all are genuinely interested, social media pressure and NRI friends sitting abroad can bring pressure to say that we should not give up. Dr. Swami is definitely not going to give up. And Modi also, you must have noticed from his election speeches and this thing, he wants to send all these crooks to jail. Or what will happen, let me tell you. If we are too soft on them, they will use all the ill-gotten money to bring down the NDA government. That threat is genuine, huh?
Okay. Even though CBI, currently we have something called a CBI which is not really working at the way it has to be. I haven't, maybe there's an idea to monitor it or something like that. Though CBI is having many cases, it's not having proper proofs, or maybe I do not know whether it is lacking in some proof, or it needs somebody else or some other agency to provide some proofs against these things alike.
No. They have been all working at the behest of the government. We really require an independent body, and BJP and the NDA will be seriously considering this. They have already said it in their manifesto, and we would want an independent body to be independent of the government control to monitor all these investigations.
Okay. Sir, actually, we saw in the elections, like in the election time, that Subramanian Swamiji the Lok Sabha seat and the news actually regarding that. What would be the role of Dr. Subramanian Swamiji in the after the 2014 Lok Sabha elections? This is all that everybody is a big curiosity for all the overseas friends in Europe as well.
I would add something before you start answering, sir. I would just add a little bit on that because Swami was supposedly, he mentioned it also on Twitter, he was supposedly promised a Delhi Lok Sabha seat in December, but by March they asked him to fight from Raebareli, and therefore he had to give up, and they expected an internal fight with Swami taking on the BJP top brass, but he said on Twitter, let's forget all that thing, Namo for PM. That's what he tweeted. So the question for also on top of that is, like, Swami has come up with a lot of ideas. Abolition of taxes with the BTT, auction of all resources, park policy, everything. How is he seriously taken inside BJP? How much of his ideas? Because his ideas are too far ahead of time.
Just clarify some points. Although I am bound by party discipline and I don't want to sound this thing selfish. The question was, Dr. Swami was elected twice from Mumbai, and he originally wanted to fight from Mumbai. Some of the senior members of the BJP told him that we want your services in Delhi, so please fight from New Delhi because you are the person who can put AAP in place. So it was decided that Dr. Swami should not insist for Mumbai and he should fight from New Delhi. Everything was decided, and in fact some of the various front organizations and friendly organizations had even started making preparation, and informally was congratulated for contesting from Delhi when the parliamentary board or that election committee thing was going on. Suddenly, at the last moment, I would say half an hour, 1 hour, when the meeting was going on, his name was not appeared in the final list. So it is for some of the BJP leaders to answer this, but Dr. Swami said, now we are fighting a bigger battle. I don't want to create any problem because we are fighting for the cause that this lady, that is Sonia Gandhi, has to be thrown out, and once she is out, we'll find our own levels and equation. So basically, he was assured by some of the senior most leaders that, before that I must add, see, he had told the senior leaders that there is a request coming from, this is in December, to contest from Raebareli. But he said that if you want me to contest from Raebareli, you should tell me in January. I'm talking about in December or November. He said, if you want me to contest from Raebareli, you must categorically work out the plan by January. By telling me in virtually March that I should contest from Raebareli is too short a notice. So he says, I can't just last moment go, because there is a history behind it, let me tell you. Although this is a public forum, I don't know, I don't mind also if somebody wants to quote me. See what happened in 2006. Sudarshan Ji, the RSS head, had asked Dr. Swami to go to Raebareli. If you recall, Sonia Gandhi, after winning the, I think 2004 elections, again quit midway, if you recall, on she being trustee of some trusts, and she was afraid that her election will be set aside. So she had quit as trustee. So she contested a by-election from Raebareli. BJP had put up that time. Dr. Swami had not joined the BJP. He was part of the NDA. And Sudarshan Ji requested Dr. Swami that you should go to Raebareli. Arun Katiyar was the BJP candidate for the by-election. When Dr. Swami went there, he found that this BJP candidate he had to go and challenge her nomination before the returning officer. You know, there's something known as scrutiny of the forms, and he was going to raise, because Sonia Gandhi's real name is not Sonia Gandhi. When she became a citizen of India, her name must be something. So that person is become a citizen of India. She was going to raise all these issues. When he reached there, the entire BJP cadre had disappeared from that constituency, neither was the candidate there. So there was a big mob of congressmen waiting, and they almost attacked Dr. Swami's car. Luckily for some people who were there in the car who drove him away, and there was another attack in the Lucknow guest house. So these fellows, last moment, they wanted him there, but last moment they disappeared. So he said, if I have to fight from there, it should be made clear in January. So all the security arrangements and all that would be in place. Last moment, he did not want to contest. This is as far as that Rai Bareli is concerned. But some top leaders assured him that now what has happened is happened now. We are deciding something else on Delhi. So post-elections, the first vacancy to the Rajya Sabha, you would be sent to the Rajya Sabha. That is what has been conveyed to him. This I am just informally telling you from other sources I understood from the BJP that this has happened. And I feel Modi ji and Dr. Swami are old friends and they have been working on many things together, and I am confident that he will have a major role to play in the next government. That is what I can hope for in the best interest of everybody.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
But this is a factual position on the episode Delhi and this thing. There was some perhaps vested interest also to ensure that he did not get the Delhi ticket, unfortunately. But
that is precisely the thing, sir. Because Swamiji spoke about the BTT. He has been campaigning for this abolition of the banking tax or abolition of the middle class taxes, and going via the BTT, and there was a Arthaka Kranti presentation and a team which presented all these ideas. But I think they have shelved it now because they said for 3 years we don't have the banking infrastructure to even start implementing.
No, it's not that. It's not that. See, that major reforms are coming as far as income tax is concerned. Some people were feeling that, it could be, which I don't believe in that if we had abolished income tax, in fact, Dr. Swami has the figures and many senior leaders of the BJP know about it. Artha Kranti also is in favor of it. There is a question of transaction tax, whether it is the best mode of collecting the taxes, that could be debated. But as far as income tax is concerned, Dr. Swami in his various writing for the last 25 years has been in favor of abolition of income tax. In fact, to be very honest, if we had gone with this idea, we would have swept the elections even with better results. But just now also the manifesto talks about rationalization, and I think income tax will be very much on the agenda, and definitely there will be major reforms, if not totally wiped out. If Dr. Swami has a role to play, then he will definitely wipe out this income tax and replace it with something else. And as you know, he's an economist and he knows how to generate revenue. It is just not like a gimmick, which like giving free electricity or water, that type of gimmick. But he can show it with figures and other resources that we can collect more revenue if we really allow the people to pay honestly and do savings. We'll definitely discuss those issues in a future thing, but that's something which we would have caught or we could have campaigned it in a much better way if we had implemented. But still the manifesto talks about some of these reforms.
Jagdish sir, actually, I have one question regarding the anti-corruption agenda of the Bharatiya Janata Party. What would be the steps which would be taken, hard steps taken to shut down all the anti-corruption, shut down all the corrupt bureaucracy in the whole government? What would be the steps, formidable steps taken by the Bharatiya Janata Party as well as the Dr. Swamiji and yourself?
No, to put it very shortly, all these major scam fellows and the senior leaders where there are allegations against them, they will be all prosecuted and taken to its logical conclusion. That is the main point. Second point is, we want to show that it's no point in just catching one constable or some clerk or these people, although they are also bad. But if we catch some big fish and set an example, that will put the fear of God into everybody. That is one. And two, corruption happens because there is too much discretionary powers with the bureaucrats or the politicians. If we want to have reforms done on this sector, if the discretionary power is reduced with the bureaucrats and the politicians, then to a great extent corruption can come down. And this must be implemented very soon. I don't think it will happen in the next few weeks, but what will happen is if even if the reforms which were introduced in 1991 onward, that is the market led economy, market regulation, it has not filtered down to the state and the municipal and the gram panchayat level. Some reforms have happened, but many places you have to apply for certain things. Some major reforms have to happen so that corruption level comes down. So by these reforms, it can come down and catch some big fish and create a situation where corruption is looked down as something very bad, and the penalty is heavy for them.
Yes,
That
sir.
they're hell bent, and I think Mr. Narendra Modi ji already has it in place in some form or the other in Gujarat. If it is implemented in all India level, because let me tell you, coming to power may be a difficult task. We will come to power, but we have to retain power, and we can only retain power if we make a visible difference to the citizens that something has happened. Good governance and these reforms can sustain us to the next government. Or what will happen? People will see the difference. We have to just not be in power, but make a difference to the citizens, where they feel that yes, we want this type of government to continue. Or citizens are very alert. If they can throw out this government, they can easily throw us out also after 5 years.
Sir, thank you, sir, for your answer.
But at the same time, I would again request you, appeal to you. Just being in forming the government is not enough. You all have to be vigilant to see that the government implements the agenda for what it was elected for.
Jagdish ji, I have a question coming back to the present scene about elections. Why is the response time of BJP slow on issues that opposition raises? For instance, they talk about Snoop Gate for 3 days and nobody from BJP really responds. The same issue on Prasar Bharati, nobody addressed that could have been really exploited, that they messed around with the media and intervened in a big way, which was a reminder of emergency times and would have really been a big issue at this time. But nobody seemed to really magnify this issue, these issues.
No, I don't think so. It was almost going on simultaneously, at least in the Indian media. While it was happening, I think they met the government and they met the election. I'm not government, sorry, the election commission. And in the Indian media, at least simultaneously as this was happening, the opposition was responding in some way or the other. There was also the appointment of the chief of the army staff and various related issues with that. All that was happening simultaneously. I think that there has been a response from the BJP also equally fast.
Okay, I felt that, like for instance, this Snoop Gate issue, they dominate the media with Congress accusations, but there is not enough response from
What
BJP.
happened is the BJP, what has happened is, some parts of our media is, as you call, the paid media, or they do favoritism. They try to make big issues of sometimes small things, but we have been equally responding to all this. Many of the channels, because here we have so many channels, even if one or two channels was to try to give one slanted view, some or the other will be, because even if you see that Modi Saab displayed the symbol near the booth, all that. Afterward, they have found half a dozen of other leaders and parties, all that, and the media also tries to play it up. But I think by and large, it has been, the BJP has been also reacting. They have been meeting, but maybe not fully up to our expectation. but the response has been there. Even on Priyanka issue, whether it is other issues, lot of things are happening on the ground, and lot of things are happening in the local medias also.
Okay, maybe I missed that out. That's possible.
I have a question regarding immigration in India from Bangladeshis and the related issues like what are the plans or how do you plan to put them off?
Yeah,
Because
I can just tell you what Dr. Swami's strong views on this are. He says that India was divided based on that Muslims could not live in India. That was that act of parliament. They said that those Muslims who can't live in India, they created a homeland or whatever you call for them. That is the then West Pakistan and the East Pakistan, which is Bangladesh. If based on that, those Muslims left India, and based on their population, they were given some proportionate area in East Pakistan and West Pakistan, which is now Pakistan and Bangladesh. If these migrants have come back to India, one way is to stop them is to see that they don't enter India. But that is almost impossible to stop because they would bribe and they have already come and settled. So the next best option is if proportionate 1/3 of the population of Bangladesh has come into India,
yes,
Bangladesh should compensate India by giving 1/3 of their land back to India. Teach them a lesson, because if you can't take back your people, you give back. You cannot have those Bangladeshis did not want to stay in India, they went to Bangladesh. Now they want to come back and stay in India. You can't keep the land and you send your people here. Give 1/3 of the land back to India.
because
It is the subject of big discussion in the Western, not Western, Eastern India and Bangladesh and other parts. When Dr. Swami went to Guwahati, and after that Modi also went there and he spoke in this line. But we'll have to do tough talking with our neighbors, or either you take them back. And in fact, you know, the whole problem in Assam is because of this migrant. You will be shocked to know that the demographic and the voter population in some of the constituencies and districts have been altered because of this migration. There are other problems also, but even formation of the government in Assam is affected by this.
Sir, even if you want to play this card, please play this card after the elections are done and we are in a plain majority, because you don't know who is influencing our vote bank. Because I heard in Bangladesh is also in a large proportion they are voting in Indian elections. What is your comment about it?
No, see, there are some people have come from Bangladesh and have settled down. You know, the entire what is that called? Assam Ganasangram AGP and the ASU, all their agitation was basically around this only. Even if you go there today, this issue is a big issue there. But some of them have got settled, the second generation, third generation, all that issues are there. Still people are coming in. We must stop all that.
Means absolutely there is no process like immigrant process or immigrant registration, or there is nothing like you just come here. Oh.
They just come in, they bribe whichever government is in power. They are not strict, and I'm telling you, it's not the question of stopping them. Assuming, let's say, that tomorrow onward it's full stop for migration. What about those lakhs and lakhs of people who have migrated and already created an imbalance here? There has to be some issue on that. So every time we went to Assam, this is a major issue there. People are really fed up there.
I am like rather more concerned towards the vote bank, because right now what is the scenario is something like that. We Indians do not have we proper Indian citizens do not have a voter ID card. Well, and but whereas these Bangladeshis have. And like recently, when the way Nandan Nilekani has a vision about this, about unique ID cards, there has not been very much. It has not been really very nicely implemented.
But
No. That Aadhaar card thing is a big fraud. And I'm not telling you politically, Dr. Swami has openly exposed it. That Aadhaar card, really speaking, any Tom, Dick and Harry can get an Aadhaar card even if you are not a citizen. It is so porous. I'm just telling you, even Bombay, if you want to forge, you can just forge and get an Aadhaar card. And 50,000 crores, Dr. Swami has pointed out, and this guy has not challenged what Dr. Swami said in Bangalore in his own constituency. They have not responded to that at all. It's a big fraud. In fact, that will be one of the tasks before the new government to take action against him.
Yeah,
He's not as simple as he may sound or look like. He is also involved in a big fraud. It's not only connected to this. For example, the Bangladesh thing, it's a pure fraud of they having made money and given huge contracts just for nothing. Very unfortunate. It's not, you talk about politician. This fellow is not even was a politician, but they have made money and helped his masters.
How about this? What is the vision from BJP side regarding this? Do you have any plan, like you will bring up with some new kind of card or something?
No. We agree in principle that something like this should be there, but it has to be proper and foolproof. It is not, we are not opposing it for the sake of opposition. We want to put safeguards into it.
Yeah, it is not.
I don't know, many of you must be knowing in the early 90s, we had a voter identification card which is still there.
But that is half of it. We don't have, even our name is not proper on it. And forget about addresses. Everything is just the way they want to write it.
No, what is happened in the Aadhaar card is that getting that Aadhaar card has become very easy without proper verification. For you and me, there will be 101 verification, being genuine citizen, but for a crooked person, they can manipulate and get it. So that those safeguards will have to be introduced.
I think Jagdish Shetty Ji is already late in night now. So maybe depending on our time, I think so. We are already exceeded the time by 5 minutes. I think. I'm not sure how.
Nice talking to you, but I can assure you one thing: in future, we'll have Dr. Swami on this interaction, and Dr. Swami like that is very simple, very informal. There's no problem. We can have him, and you perhaps will get a lot of knowledge in the interaction with him. Only thing is, I don't know about this bandwidth. Last time we had difficulty for the same day it was with North America. There was some difficulty, but with Australia it went on very well. But today, luckily, there has not been any major hitch because I don't know, thanks to maybe the limited this thing, but maybe I don't know what. We are all lucky. Maybe it is a Sunday and late in hours, traffic is less. But thanks very much. I hope I have answered you.
One final thing, sir. Just 30 seconds. We mentioned a lot of fraud. I think Modi spoke in 2009 about having an anti-corruption ministry, and I think many fans put anti-corruption ministry, and many would like Swami to be an anti-corruption minister with SIT for each scam and each file and each project. What UPA. I'm sure that there are lots of ideas going internally on those topics. And if you want to respond politically, you can still respond, sir.
No, I don't think there is something in the BJP present thinking of having some independent anti-corruption ministry as such, because everything should be really anti-corruption. But definitely Dr. Swami is keen to pursue most of these cases. That doesn't mean that he is interested in becoming the law minister, because really speaking, law ministry is not the only thing who looks after all that. I'm not saying which ministry or not, but we have to take it to the logical conclusion, many of these matters seriously, and with the idea of bringing it to a closure, because many things are already in the pipeline and many things have to be pursued now. There is that National Herald case. There is various other scams which are in the pipeline, like the coal one, the Kaveri Basin one. Let me tell you, there are vested interests in the business circle also who will play a dominant role to ensure that some become what minister and some don't become what minister. We have to be we'll have to be careful of that also.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dinesh.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
It was a great pleasure. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. It was actually, I'm not sure whether how you feel about extending a few minutes time more. So I think all of our friends have some little bit more questions, I think, on it. So
What is it? I can't get you. What did you say?
there are maybe how do we plan to extend this hangout? Do we plan, sir, by your permission, to make it another 10 minutes or so, or do we? How do you feel, sir?
You want to continue for another 10 minutes?
Yes, this is what is the intention, sir.
Yes,
Continue.
just a few more questions to add up, I think, from all of us.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, maybe previous class, I saw you. I think a lot of. I think we had some problem regarding the media in Germany regarding the Narendra Modi on Erlangen Nachrichten. Is one of the newspaper which brought out kind of a news, defaming news about Narendra Modi ji in Germany, and
So
it
what
was
was it?
broadcasted.
I have not followed. What was the news on Narendra Modi in German papers?
Where should I say
It
it?
was saying that Modi is an India chooses racist as an prime minister.
And they have compared
And
Modi
they
to
have
Hitler.
compared him to
Hitler.
Marxist party and RSS to lot of like they have tried to defame it, and with a lot of nonsense kind of a news they are trying to spread across in German newspapers. This is we have found it, and we are not sure how we respond to it.
No, I think factually you must correct it and say this is not so, and it's a democratic process. So many state governments are there, and popularity. And now after this election results, although it's just a few days ago now, from here to there, just 12, 13 days. That time also you all should respond saying that you all published this type of thing, but it was misleading. The Indian democratic people have responded and given their verdict. But now also you all should respond saying what is the factual position.
But
Sir, somewhere we should mention these
respond?
links when you say factual, where we should refer to.
No, factual means you say that BJP is ruling in so many states. We have so many chief ministers. And the record of the government in Gujarat is also so. There have been no riots. You can just go on the internet and do some research. And a very factual part. I don't know now who will publish it. But still you all should write a letter to the editor in that format also. Or I don't know, you may have the internet edition. Now, for example, let me tell you, after 2008 or 2009, Dr. Swami in the internet, whenever any anti-article against Dr. Swami was to appear, and they may still appear, but the response from the readers has been tremendous. Even TV channels now want Dr. Swami to appear in many of their talk shows only because of the what you call the TRP rating. They want him there. So I'm sure, because your German audience, you are not really bothered so much of the German audience, but it's a public relation exercise. You should respond to it, I feel, in whatever way you can. Because see, we sitting here, we will not know any about the newspapers, may not have the bandwidth to deal with them. But in your own small way, you all should respond. Maybe you're part of the Friends of BJP activities. Now it is too late. Should be to respond to some of these articles, which will create an awareness. In fact, America, some people or the other keep on doing this. Maybe I think you all may be thinking, no, such a big establishment, how do we counteract? But even a form of a letter to the editor is good enough.
Okay. I think Ravindra Kulkarni has a last question, maybe to this will be the last question of the hangout, maybe to have Ravindra Kulkarni. What is your question actually? Could you please?
Ravindra,
You are not audible, Ravindra.
It's muted.
I think he is muted.
I think no.
He's not muted. His microphone is probably not working.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is audible now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's audible. Yeah, in our education system, what we heard from so many things, because all the history is somewhat twisted, what we are learning from the ancient things, because maybe some vested interest in the government or something. And how will be the such things when the government comes into the act, whether they take care of all this education system to bring it to the things what we are studying, some wrong history or whatever twisted history. We've seen so many videos by some people saying the history is twisted or things.
No, very good question.
Yeah.
I think you joined in a little late, and I mentioned earlier
Yeah.
there is a big movement led by Rajiv Malhotra, who is based in Princeton in US, and who is also closely associated with many of our front organizations here and with Dr. Swami. We have a big plan for reviving all his activities and also rewriting of history textbook in India. To some extent, Sri Murli Manohar Joshi ji, during his tenure as HRD minister, had started this exercise, but definitely the new government will be addressing this, and it is a matter of concern. In fact, Dr. Swami's every speech, if you must have seen on the internet and the social media, he talks very much about this issue, and BJP also is concerned, but they are going to be giving this priority definitely when the formation of the government takes place, and Rajiv Malhotra will have a big role to play.
Yeah.
Presently in India also, he is in Varanasi on a private visit, but he is here and he had meetings in Delhi and all that. But please do keep in touch with his articles and books. He has already written 3 to 4 books, and many of them are very scholarly books, and many of these, for example, they wanted to, he has written you please go on the net and see many of his books, and you can ask yourself to be on the mailing list of his. It's really worth it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for raising this question.
Yeah, thank you for response.
Hello,
okay,
sir.
thank you. Can I sign off?
Sir, actually, very last request from Divyesh Vyas. Actually, just, if you are okay, then I can put him forward.
Yeah. What is it? Who wants to ask?
Divyesh Vyas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. I am Devesh.
Yes.
I want to ask a question continuing that educational part about the educational reform. We know that Sanskrit is our cultural language. So, what steps can be taken to revive the Sanskrit language so that we can also dig deep down into our history by decoding all those ancient texts that were written into Sanskrit, and
You
we
know,
can.
first of all, your voice is breaking, so I'm not getting the full sentence.
What he means is like his question is about reviving the Sanskrit culture, language, and how we decode the Sanskrit text for our development.
No, we have been believing in this 3 language formula, that is English, your mother tongue, and Hindi, to be encouraged, but at the same time emphasizing on the Sanskrit language, and at least giving importance to Sanskrit, because we cannot compulsory enforce Sanskrit on anybody, but make it in such a pleasant way that Sanskrit becomes part of our learning culture. It will help us in understanding many of our ancient values and systems. So that is part of this BJP's agenda, and part of what I'm saying of Rajiv Malhotra's mission also. So that is very much on priority, but we'll have to have political stability, settle down and give importance to all that. That is very much there. There is the front organizations like RSS, VHP and their front organization. They are also emphasizing on that part. But at the same time, it should not appear as if, even for Hindus and all sections of the Hindus, it should be presented in a proper way and not appear something forcibly done, then there is a lot of resistance from people. So it has to be pleasantly put forth to them, and the benefits of, what do you say, encouraging Sanskrit. there is very much part of the agenda.
So thank you, Jagdish ji, actually
Okay.
for answering all our questions and making this hangout a great success. Actually, hope.
Thank you very much. We'll be in touch. You can always be in touch via email. I'll try my best to respond to you, but I will definitely convey to Dr. Swami that this group is very active in Europe and would like to have interaction with him in future. If not on the Google Hangout, anytime in the future in a visit to Europe also.
So
Thank you very much.
we will be very lucky to have a hangout, sir. And thank you, sir. Actually,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Veda and everyone, after Jagdish ji log out, we can have a small discussion for 10 minutes. Now we'll.
yeah, but we are very thankful to Jagdish ji actually for this making his time for the hangout actually. And
Thank you very much. I also enjoyed it being with you and interacting with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Good.
thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night, sir. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.